Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. Can we start with a roll call?
Aziz Hassan.
Norma Drummond. Tara Franco. Thank you. Can I ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So our agenda this evening, we're not going to have any discussion on items 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, or 8. Item number 4 is an adjourned public hearing, so we will reconvene it, but just if anybody's here for item number 4, there is no new information, so our expectation at this point is for item number 4, it's just going to be adjourned to next month. So if anybody's here for 1, 2, 3, essentially 4, 6, 7, or 8, there's essentially not going to be any action on any of those items. Our next coming meetings are Tuesday, May 28th, and Tuesday, June 25th. We do have one set of minutes to approve. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for March 26th?
As amended.
As
So
amended,
moved.
thank you.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so with that said, we're going to go to, well, item number 4, we have to open and then reconvene. So item number 4 is Appeal 3882, Klaus Garage, Inc., Dave Lawrence, owner of Klaus Garage, Inc., 2619 Route 52, Hopewell Junction, requesting an expansion of a non-conforming use and other variance requests. Do I have a motion to reconvene the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in relationship to the request from Klaus Garage? Again, there's no new information, and we have a request from this applicant to adjourn the public hearing to next month. So seeing none, is there a motion to close the public, or to adjourn the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All in
Aye.
all in favor? Aye, thank you. Adjourned. Okay, so that was number 4. So item number 5 is our one public hearing for this evening. So this is the one application where we will hear public comment this evening. Item number 5 is Appeal 3903 Davis. Douglas Davis, 6 First Street, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 33-foot rear line variance for a pre-existing 10-foot by 18-foot detached garage built in 1920. Excuse me, a 28-foot front line variance for a pre-existing enclosed porch also built in 1920, and a 22-foot front line variance for a proposed 16-foot by 26-foot addition pursuant to sections 194-121 and 194-123 of the zoning ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Davis. All right, so we did have the opportunity last month to review your application with you. This is an existing old house on very small lots. We had previously seen and approved a variance for another lot very, very close by to this. And so essentially, we need to make legal, for lack of a better word, what's on the existing property now, which includes the garage in the back as well as the front porch, okay? And so what you've asked us for is a variance to be able to do a relatively small addition, 16-foot by 26-foot. Is this 1-story or 2-story? Refresh my memory.
The addition will be 1 story.
1 story, that's right, okay. So it was a 1-story addition. We have the plans here. That's, in essence, going to be First Street's in the front, so it's going to be to the left of your house.
Correct.
You're going to redirect the driveway, I guess?
Right. Yep,
Okay,
just
so it's
move it.
now going to
to the
go
left.
around it because the garage is all the way in the back. But it's just going to help with improve the flow of the house. You said it's going to match the existing exterior, so it's going to, in essence, make the property probably look a little bit better.
I hope so.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so.
Questions or comments from board members?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think we really had an opportunity to look at this well last month, so. Yeah, actually, we had the elevations, you gave us pretty much everything that so it's a great room, dining room, a sitting room, an office, and the, the deck in terms of how the layout of it's gonna be. And so we had the elevations, so. All right, so is there anyone here who wishes to speak for or against the request from Douglas Davis, 6 First Street, Hopewell Junction, requesting a 33-foot rear line variance for a pre-existing 10-foot by 18-foot detached garage, a 28-foot front line variance for a pre-existing enclosed porch, and a 22-foot front line variance for a proposed 16-foot by 26-foot addition? No? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And this is appeal number 3903 for a 33-foot rear line variance for a pre-existing 10-foot by 18-foot detached garage built in 1920, a 28-foot front line variance for a pre-existing enclosed porch also built in 1920, and a 22-foot front line variance for a proposed 16-foot by 26-foot addition pursuant to section 194-121 and 194-123 of the zoning ordinance. Whereas the applicant has applied for the above stated variances, and whereas the board moves to adopt their standard decision and order and finds that the granting of the variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood, as the proposed addition will be finished to match the existing house, and the other variants are needed for structures that have been there for almost 100 years. The desired result cannot be achieved by some other means, as it is an older home, and the owner would like to expand his living space. The variance requested is not substantial, and the proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions. Now therefore be it resolved, the zoning board of appeals hereby approves the above stated variance.
Your
Second.
Votes as follows. Aziz.
Aye.
Tara.
Aye.
And myself, aye. So your motion carries.
Great, thank you very
All
much.
right, now you'll just deal with the building permit,
Okay.
building department.
Thank you.
You. Have a good evening. All right, so there are no more public hearings this evening, so the other applications before us are here for review. So as I mentioned previously, there's no action on 6, 7, or 8 at the requests of the applicants. So item number 9 is Appeal 3900, Thomas McGimsey, 42 Wright Boulevard, Hopewell Junction, is requesting a 10-foot sideline variance for a proposed 8-foot by 20-foot pool deck extension, a 5-foot sideline variance for existing pool equipment, and a 6-foot rear line and 8-foot sideline variance for an existing jungle gym pursuant to section 194-94 and 194-95 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so we did have a chance to meet with you last month for a first look at what you were asking for, and I believe we asked that you get a survey, and we've gotten that since then.
Yes.
So, we just need to go through, sorry, let me get your stuff out.
I don't
Leary.
think I got a survey, did you?
This is the solar plan. Is this it? Yeah, okay. All right, need my glasses for this one. This is tiny. All right.
I have a bigger one here. I mean, I have the hard
Oh, you have a
copy.
larger version of it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right at this point. Okay, so let's deal with the first issue. We asked about the jungle gym. The jungle gym is 19.3 feet in from the back. So that's essentially 19 feet in and out is supposed to be, Pam, from the rear line.
25.
25, so that needs a 6-foot variance, rear line. The jungle gym is 17.29 in from the side yard, and that needs 25. So that needs 17, needs an 8-foot sideline. I'm presuming you want to keep that play equipment.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Basically, it's 8 foot from the sideline and 6 foot from the back,
Correct, rear line, yep.
rear line 6 foot.
So then we get to the pool, and your pool, the one corner of the deck is
It's a proposed deck, is that right?
Yes, the dotted area is, well, I don't know if you can see the dots, but the 21 by 7 feet is the proposed deck, not the existing. So.
Right, you have a wood deck around one end of it, now what you're looking to do is go around the end of it, making a
Right.
longer stretch.
Yes,
Yeah, no,
longer.
I see that. It looks like it looks like if the pool pump is 20.3, right? Am I seeing that correctly?
Yeah, correct.
Yes,
So the pool pump needs a 5-foot sideline for the pool equipment, right? Is that what we wrote?
Yes. Oh, well,
Well, what is the actual resolution
yeah, 5
say?
foot for the.
Okay, good.
pool
So that's okay, pool equipment, what's already in there. And so this says it is
6 foot.
17, right? 17 plus or
Seven.
minus, and then what's the 15 plus or minus? That's the other end of it?
yeah, I guess I thought it ran parallel to the fence, I guess it's not quite parallel.
Yeah,
But let's go with 15.
right, because you added, so
10 foot.
it needs a 10-foot, which is, yeah, that's what Pam had. Okay, so that's good. But then we also have a shed, but the shed is 25.8, so we don't even have to deal with the shed.
It's 10 by 12 anyway, it's not 144 square feet, so I think it's okay.
But at this point, a shed only has to be in 15 feet, so you're good.
Gotcha.
That one's fine. All right, so, and we already talked last time that your neighbor has a pool
Yeah,
in his backyard, so it's not like you're gonna overpower him with noise, he's used to that noise.
exactly.
Okay, so, and we also talked about the fact that the topography of your lot is pretty steep, so this
Yes,
was
true,
really the
yes.
only place that you actually could put the pool in your backyard, so,
Yes, there's no other place to put the pool, and to the right of the deck, it
yeah.
goes significantly upwards from there.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any other issues here. Is anybody else seeing anything else, or are we good to set this up for a public hearing with with the additional jungle gym?
Motion to advertise.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so Pam will give you your instructions for your sign, okay, and then we will see you next month for your public hearing. Okay?
Do we know how far the pool is?
Well, if this deck, we do, because this deck is 8 feet, right? The deck is,
The proposed extension is 7 feet, yes.
the proposed extension is 7 feet or 8 feet? You asked for a 8-foot by 20-foot deck extension.
I mean, I'm reading the survey, I mean, that's how he interpreted what I did, so, I mean, I'm gonna build it to these specs.
Well, 7 feet plus 17 feet means the pool is 1 foot in, closer to the side yard than it should be. 8 feet plus 17 is 25, that means it's in the right place. So how wide is the deck extension as far as the surveyor was
Well,
concerned?
The deck extension, I mean, the pool is where the pool is, the extension is just coming off the deck, so that doesn't change where the pool is.
Understood, but we need to be sure that the pool is in fact legally where it should be.
Right, and again,
So
we kind of went through this with this stuff last time. I've measured from the chain link fenced and gotten, as did the installers of the pool, they put it, again, this is going from the fence, right? This is not going from a survey when they
And
installed it.
your fence is on your line. The chain link fence is
Well,
showing it's on your
The chain
line.
link fence is outside of is on their property. It's outside of the property line. So that's how this came about.
Oh, so your chain link fence is on your
It's
neighbor's?
not my chain link fence, it's their chain link fence. It's my
And
neighbor's.
you use that chain link fence to make the measurement?
Yes, because
To make what
the
measurement?
prior survey looked prior to, I mean, again, right, so you're measuring, getting that to the chain link fence and then measuring to the pool. So that's where we measured 25 feet from.
Okay, but if it's not on your property, that fence, then you don't have 25 feet from your property line.
I mean, that's what it appears to be. It appears to be like a foot short.
Okay,
So the pool needs a variance too, is what you're saying?
It sounds that way.
Okay, yeah, we need to clean it up.
You had the surveyor out there. I'm just surprised he didn't give you the measurement to the pool.
I'm surprised at what I got for $500 too. But again, so I was on vacation, I got back today, I was on vacation for 2 weeks, so I had to ask him to come in, he delivered it the day I left, so, you know, it was what it was, it wasn't like I was gonna be able to do anything with this once I got it, so I couldn't ask him to remeasure it and have it ready for tonight, or come back out and make any adjustments.
What worries me is the fact that it appears the widest part of the 17 feet is not the full 7
Yeah.
or 8 foot depth.
Exactly, because it
Which
may have.
tells me your pool may be even closer than the,
The existing deck, which is what you're coming 7 feet off of, is, so this runs at an angle, right?
Right.
So the further you get to the pool, the farther away you're getting from the property line.
right?
So I don't have an answer of whether it's 1 foot or 2 foot, or if it's inside of that. All I can say is that that farthest point of the pool is where the farthest point of the deck extension is,
Okay,
right? It would appear to be, it is somewhere between 24 and 25 feet away from the property line, judging by this survey. The original survey that we used when I bought the house, the fence and the property line seemed to be much tighter further down the yard.
all right. You got to go back to the surveyor and have him fill in that measurement, okay? He should have given it to you already, that you're asking him to measure the existing.
That's fine, but what,
But for public hearing purposes, I'm willing to put the 1 foot on for the pool.
Thank you.
Okay? And then, but between now and the actual public hearing, if we don't need to give that variance, we shouldn't be giving it. It's okay for future owners of this property. You need to get to the surveyor and just ask why it wasn't included on here, that you needed the existing measurement for the pool. But for public hearing purposes, we can set it with the additional 1 foot variance.
Or you wanna look 1 or 2
If,
feet?
no, just 1 foot, because if you need more than that, you're gonna be out of luck. We're gonna have to do it again. So that's why,
but the pool is approved and the pool is there, so what am I out of luck of? I'm confused as to what I'm out of luck. Like, when you say I'm out of luck, what does that mean?
well, it means we're gonna have to extend the public hearing to make sure we're noticing things right. That's all. I mean, we've asked for the survey, we asked for the information.
Right, no, I understand, and, you know, my concern is I'm losing summer. Like, you know what I mean, I'm losing time to build and use this thing, so, so we extended it again, that's another month, and then I gotta wait another month after that, so now we're into like, what is that, July at that point? So, I mean, I have no problems with anything you're saying.
Is the pool there now?
Yeah, the pool's exactly.
Okay, so it doesn't stop your ability to use the pool.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is I don't want to be building things all summer long. It's like, we're just trying to get this done, as we mentioned last time.
Mr. McGimsey, we understand that, okay? We're trying to get to this, but if we don't have the appropriate information, I don't want to not give you what you need to do this legally.
Right.
So
I
that's
get
why
that.
I'm saying
But-
let's-
I mean, you could have asked for the pool measurements
We.
specifically.
No, we
That's
asked-
for a
we asked-
survey. A survey should give us all the measurements on the existing
Correct.
structures on your property.
Correct, and not only that, but when you do a survey, you have to tell the surveyor that you're looking it for the zoning board of appeals, so that they can put a, and then they actually put a dotted line around the perimeter, so that all those, for each town, all those setbacks are clearly identified.
Right.
If that person, if your surveyor had done it, so you should go back and say, put the ZBA lines on this plot, that's it. And once he does it, he or she is gonna find out.
But at this point, you're going to have to tell them specifically, we need to know
Yeah,
how close the pool is to the
Correct.
sideline.
But once you put that, it'll be very clear that if it is, you know, in that plot, in that ZBA setback or not. So, but again, I think as we said, that we're willing to go forward with a public hearing with a caveat that you might need 1 foot, or maybe not, we don't know. But we need to have that information to go forward.
All right? It shouldn't even cost you anything more to do it. He should have put it on here in the first place. Okay,
it's
so,
not, that's not my,
I know, yeah, I understand. You want to get this done, but you want to make sure we're getting it done right. So,
I
all right, so
understand.
do I have a motion to set this for public hearing
As
for
amended.
all of the
Things that we've discussed.
ones that we've itemized tonight?
So I'll make a motion to amend the public hearing, motion to advertise as we have discussed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so Pam will give you your instructions for the sign.
Okay.
Oh,
Do you want a copy of this?
We need a new one, actually, with all the stuff that we just talked about. A bigger
We
one.
need the pool on there.
Yeah, with a pool on it, yeah.
When you say all the stuff, you mean specifically just the pool?
The pool has to be added on there. Everything else should be okay.
With the setbacks, so then it'll be
Right,
very
that's what
clear.
I'm saying, we need the pool,
Correct.
this,
We don't need to calculate it, it's all there. He will know about it, or she will know about it.
well. Item number 10, Appeal 3901, Hartshorn, Catherine Hartshorn, 843 Farmers Mills Road. Carmel is requesting an area variance of .42 acres for buildable area in order to subdivide a 7.81 acre parcel of land which is Zone B1 and R3 that she owns at 3875 Route 52 into two lots, one of which is proposed to be 3.23 acres and the other is proposed to be 4.5 acres. An 8-foot sideline variance for a pre-existing non-conforming residence located in a B1 zone, and a 5-foot width variance for the flagpole, and a 21-foot variance for the road frontage requirement pursuant to Section 163-19, 194-92.1, 194-1.19, and the Schedule of Bulk Regulations of the East Fishkill Code. Good evening.
Evening.
So, since we last saw you, it appears we have a new plan, if you don't mind taking us through what you're proposing at this point.
I'd be happy to. Catherine Hartshorn, Jamie Luginis from Insight. My name is William Schilling. Taking about 2 minutes of your time, the property is on 3875 of Route 52. Reminding the board, it is a split zone with the northern half of the property in residential. Excuse me, and the southern half is in B1 commercial. There is a single-family residence on the B1 commercial. Since that time, the building inspector has cited some violations regarding the single-family. And it had to do with my client in approximately 2010, renting to an older couple with adult children. And she put a sheetrock between, giving them separate quarters, and then after they left for about 2 years, she rented it as a two-family. The applications to the building inspector have been made to remedy the violations that occurred. It has been a one-family since 2014, and, my client and the building inspector have worked closely to get the violations removed. What we're trying to do simply is to unify the zone to make the entire property zone lesser classified residential and have two single-family structures on approximately an 8-acre piece of property. And to accomplish this, we need 4 area variances. The board is aware that my client tried to develop this commercially a number of years ago without success. The planning board was not happy with access to a commercial site over that private right-of-way. And so my client placed their business in the town of Kent and now wish to build a residence to the rear in the residential zone, again, unifying the split zone to the lower classification. When we were here last time, the big concern, as I remember, was that there was an easement on the easterly side, which has been eliminated. So now access to the residential part will be through what is a flag lot to the west. As the chairman suggested, there has been some small configuration or reconfiguration, but at the end, the southerly property will be about 3.5 acres. The residential will be about 4.5 acres, both over the requirement. We require 4 variances in order to effectuate our intentions. One is the lot count calculation, and under the formula and considering the environmental constraints, we could legally build 1.58 acres, and we proposed 2, and so that's a variance of 4.2. The flag lot, when you create a lot on a flag lot, you have to be 50% bigger than would otherwise be allowed in the code. As such, we would be required to build on a lot of 4.5 acres, and we're building, excuse me, on a lot of 3.8 acres. We are 85% compliant with that. The flag poles have to be 50 feet wide. We propose 45 feet wide, and so we comply with 90% of that. And the fourth variance is the side yard. The side yard, I have to check with Pam, because I don't think the dimensions are right in that one. I think the setback is 10, we provide 2. So we need an 8-foot variance, but I hasten to remind the board that this is an existing condition, an existing structure, an existing drive, so I don't think it's substantial. So very quickly, if I could, with regard to neighborhood concerns, we're 500 feet away from the nearest residential neighbor. We'll put a residential structure on a residential zone. We think we're compliant with the neighborhood as it should be. There's no way to obviate the need because my client has owned it for 14 years, tried very hard to develop the property commercially, wasn't able to do so, and is now proposing a more restrictive use than is currently there. With regard to the lot count calculation, we're 80% compliant. With regard to the flagpole size, we're 85% compliant. With regard to the width of the flag lot, we're 90% compliant. And the fourth concern about the side yard, it is existing, both the structure and the right-of-way. Environmental conditions, I believe, have been addressed through insight. There's no development within the wetland. There'll be planning board review, of course. And the last thing I would talk to you is this is not a self-created hardship. This is a split zone. And whenever you have a split zone, the courts are very quick to recognize that development in any way is difficult because of the difficulties that split zones present. The courts have said in a situation like this, the property owner is entitled to deferential treatment. So we're simply asking in the end that there'll be 2 residential structures, a unified classification, restrictive use on approximately 8 acres. And we did try to modify our design to address the board's concerns specifically with the right-of-way, which was very much not liked and now removed from the application tonight.
Okay. So the new lot that you're proposing, the flag pole goes how close by the existing residence?
Can you answer that?
I can. Good evening. So the new property line goes 2 feet, within 2 feet of the the existing residence. So in order to have the 50 feet, we can't accommodate the 50 feet for the flagpole itself. And the greatest number we could have is 47, and having a property line right on a building didn't necessarily make sense, or having it go through the building didn't make sense. So we proposed 2 feet off the existing building, giving it a 45-foot dimension, so it'll be 2 feet off that existing building.
And at its shortest distance, this lot in the front would have a 21-foot rear yard, if I'm
Yes.
reading that correctly.
Yes, 20 feet is required.
And so how close is the actual driveway for the large garage in the back proposed to be close to this residence in the front?
It is existing. It's not,
I'm
we're not
asking a
proposing.
question. Understood.
Okay. I'd have to look. I don't know. I'm sorry. It is actually all pavement around the existing house, so it is 0 feet.
So where do the cars that, the people who live there now, or whoever uses that home, how close, where do they park? And are you eliminating their parking with this proposed lot?
No, we're not. They actually park, I brought this so I wouldn't have to run back and forth here. I can't see. They actually park right either in front of the house or in back of the house. They don't use the front. This is actually the access to the back of the lot anyway. There's an existing path that goes through here, so we're utilizing that existing path to minimize the amount of disturbance that we're doing on site. So they park in front and then they park in back.
Is it gravel parking or is it
It's all blacktop.
blacktop? Okay. Is it possible to show it in an updated survey to make sure that we know that where the cars are being parked?
This is an updated survey.
No, because it doesn't show where the cars are being parked for lot number 1.
You don't typically show cars
It doesn't show
on
an asphalt drive unless it's like squared off around the house. It could be these lines, Aziz. If you see this here.
Otherwise, one gets an impression that they don't have a parking spot. No, I know, you know it, but again, looking at the survey, it doesn't show it.
Typically for residential lots, you don't demarcate like parking lot lines. Is
Correct,
that
but
what you're
again, you need to show the access
You
point.
would show an asphalt, you're showing an asphalt driveway. I think what Aziz may be getting to, because what I'm concerned about is on what you're now leaving on the front area of the house does not appear to be even deep enough for a car to pull in, to stay on their own property. Again, it may be an asphalt driveway now, but where you're proposing the property line, you're asking for the people who may want to park in the front of the residence to have the back of their vehicle on the property that's really owned in the back. It appears that there's a deeper area in the rear of the house, okay? So they may be parking there now because there's not necessarily a regular use.
There's actually 3 parking spots in the front of the house. It may not be showing it, but there's actually where they can park 3 cars in the front and 3 cars as well in the back, and even deeper, like if it's a longer vehicle, there's.
Yeah, and the back is definitely deeper.
Yes, so literally they can park anywhere from 4 to 5 vehicles.
Yeah, my concern is if lot 1 gets split down the road 30, 40 years from now, they'll have an issue where they're supposed to park. This survey doesn't show where they're supposed to park.
I don't know that we can necessarily worry about that
Okay.
per se,
Okay.
but I think what we have to worry about is whether they have the ability to turn around without being,
Correct.
without having to worry about a car coming down a driveway that they haven't seen, because they have a structure blocking them. Okay, they have no sight distance that there's a car coming, so I think if they're in the back of the house, that's
Kind
That's
of.
fine. It appears to me you're trying to literally squeeze this in. And the 4 variances, I'm not sure I agree, are not significant. So, but I'm one member, so Can I just ask the question, why not get rid of the house in the front and just make it one lot with one house?
Because it's already existing, and it's already, actually, I have a family in there, and they want to stay. So I'm not looking to kick them out. They're actually a friend of mine's children that have 5
Okay.
children, and they enjoy staying there, and we're looking forward to being neighbors.
Okay.
So it's.
No, it's a
I know what you're
legitimate answer, I appreciate
But
that.
it's legit that they're excited about, my family coming over there and living kind of with them.
Okay.
So it's a good arrangement, for sure.
You did dismiss this whole discussion about the wetlands being on, in essence, where you were proposing the driveway and the easement, the access last time, although you were still specifically proposing the driveway on this same side of the property, just with an access easement. So the wetlands are now demarcated.
Actually, the wetlands come to the parking spot of the back of the house.
The wetlands and the buffer, we've stayed completely outside of their envelopes as far as our disturbance is concerned, and that was another reason why we had flipped the flagpole to the other side of the property on top of the existing drive, so that we could minimize and avoid any type of disturbance to the wetlands or their buffers.
Yeah, where you have marked the freshwater wetland, actually that actually envelopes the existing house, the way you have shown it in your map.
This building is not.
No, not this building, that's a separate, that's lot number 3 or separate building, that's not part, I'm only talking about lot 1 right now.
So the wetlands are here, the buffer.
Yeah, the buffer's here.
The building is up here. We're completely out of the buffer and then some.
Yeah, I agree on that lot, you're okay. I worry that your disturbance to get the slope that you're proposing for the large proposed asphalt
I thought that this is the line,
courtyard.
here's the freshwater wetland. Is that the buffer that we're talking about? This is the line.
No, this is the line for the wetlands here.
Oh, that's the buffer, okay.
See here, this?
Okay, what is
And
this,
so the-
what is this
so
one?
this
Oh,
is the
oh, that's-
buffer.
Okay, that's a setback, okay,
See this
okay.
adjacent area? So this is the 100-foot
Okay, so
area, this
that's
is the
other-
wetland
okay,
line.
okay.
Okay, so this is where I'm more concerned that they're gonna
Okay.
actually impact the buffer to get the
Okay,
large courtyard there.
Does your code have a dimensional requirement for parking spaces in a residential? Is there a certain size that they should be for a single family?
I didn't hear,
Certain size, or just that there's off-site parking?
Well,
Off-street parking.
I'd like to show the board if, that for a single-family house, I believe there's ample parking, and perhaps if your code provided when you're creating a single family that there had to be a certain parking requirement, I'd like to show the board, or hope to show the board, that we're compliant with that. It seems as though parking is a concern of the board's, and with what the applicant says, it clearly, or it has in the past, serviced 6 automobiles. So if there's a concern that the board has, I'd like to be able to show it to the board that it's not going to be an issue, and that for a single-family house, I believe the parking to be ample.
does this existing residence have a garage?
No.
Okay, so where they're supposed to park the cars then?
As the applicant said, there's space in the front.
Understand that, but there's no asphalt, or there's no, I mean, your lot 1 doesn't show, all it shows is a steps, a deck, a frame, and some other,
Again, bring your, I would
Yeah.
think there's the asphalt area is extended here.
what does it say?
See how it says asphalt area, asphalt drive? The line goes this way.
Oh, okay.
So it's going here, but again, it's,
Oh, okay, so that's,
if this is 21 feet.
Oh, I thought this was part- okay.
I don't think this is 21 feet, so it's a standard parking space would be 20 feet deep,
Yeah, okay.
okay? Here, if it goes on this side to there, this
There's
is all
enough-
asphalt. So
okay.
this side, there's definitely, and I think you said there's 3 spaces in the front and 3 in the back. So there is room for
Okay,
3
so- okay. Oh,
spaces
so that's-
here,
okay.
and that's deep enough. What I'd be concerned about is if somebody tried parking here.
oh, okay, so it's already here.
It's gonna, the
Oh,
back
so-
of their
so the-
car is extending onto this
No, I thought
lot
that
too.
asphalt drive was this proposed. I
Yeah,
didn't-
no, the line goes,
The line goes there, okay, let me
the
mark.
line jags in, but I think in essence, they're going to lose this unless they park parallel to the road.
But I would ask the
But
board.
but the bottom line is, they still
They have enough room.
have enough room in the back for parking?
I didn't, okay, let me mark it up.
Is that what?
Is this the well for lot 1?
You have a well under the driveway?
Yeah,
Huh? There's your
where it
answer,
is.
yes.
it's covered by a big metal cover in the middle of the driveway. That's how I got it.
Is this a flat lot, or is it
Pretty flat.
pretty flat, right?
Where we're developing is pretty flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the topography lines, you know, Okay, or off to the side and toward the wetlands. Well, like I said, I'm only one member, so. I don't know. I guess I need to ask the question, how often do we give variances for new construction? We don't, right? Because they really have other options. So,
There's nothing with the structure that requires variance. It's simply its access to get there. And I know that the flag lot legislation passed by this town and 280A variances granted throughout the state. I can't imagine that this is that unusual for a person who owns 8 acres in a residential zone completely.
where half of the property is the wetland or the wetland
I
buffer.
understand there's
Yeah.
environmental constraints. I believe the development has been all outside of the wetland. So we'd like to make this board feel better about this, and I don't know exactly what we can do. We're just unifying the classification of a split zone. And I don't think 2 houses on 8 acres is terribly ambitious. And the chairman asked, why don't we just get rid of the house? That would be a sizable financial loss to my client as well as a personal one. So I think, with all due respect, dimensional variances are not significant. They're 85, 90, and 95% compliant. The side yard that is close to the structure is an existing driveway. Our variances aren't substantial. They're in keeping with the neighborhood, which is the most important requirement under New York law. So I'd love to make this board feel better about this application. I'm not sure how we can do that. But I feel very respectfully that this is not a very ambitious project.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I mean, it's, I mean, basically what they're looking for, let's go through, they divided up lot 1 and lot 2, looking for a 5-foot variance for the flag lot driveway.
Yeah, so they don't have they don't have the access in the first part for the frontage for the flag lot. They don't have the width for the pole for the flag lot. They only have buildable area for 1.5 lots. It's not 2.
Yeah.
So,
So they're subdividing the whole property into lot 1 and lot 2,
Okay.
and
If I might, just a reminder, we changed the configuration, got rid of the easement, and created the flag lot at the board's request, I believe. You were very, very unhappy.
well,
I don't think it was our request.
no, it
I
wasn't
think-
our request, it was basically going through the
The
wetland
gentleman-
buffer area.
The gentleman who was sitting there said that this, I forget his words, said like this was a subterfuge or a runaround or something, and clearly the board didn't like the easement on the easterly side. And as far as your statements about noncompliance, Madam Chairman, were 85, 90, and 95% compliant.
With 1.58 buildable lots?
Yeah, that's 85%. We create, we're creating lots of, bear with me 1 minute. The requirement is 4.5, we propose 3.8. That's 85%. With the lot calculation, we have,
Go ahead.
it's 2 lots proposed, and the code would permit 1.58. That's 85%. 1.58 compared to 2 is 85%. That's 85%. The
Okay.
lot width, the width of the pole is 90% compliant.
I'm looking for direction from the board members.
Okay, let's just go one step, just to kind of review it, okay? The first is you're almost 95% compliance in the pole portion of it. So it's,
With the lot calculation.
correct, so it's supposed to be
we-
50
with
feet, you're
the-
45 feet.
With the lot, if you're talking about the lot count calculation with the environmental constraints in the formula, we're compliant. We're proposing 2 lots. The lot count would permit 1.58 lots. That's 85%. With regard to the flag lot should be 50% bigger than lots that aren't flag lots. Should be 4.5, we propose 3.8. That's also 85 or 90%. With the flagpole width, I'll do it again because you're not, with the flag lot requirement being 50% bigger than the lot required, the code would require 4.5 acres. We propose 3.8 acres. It's a large majority. I believe it's 85 or 90%. With regard to the flagpole, 50 feet wide, we're 45 feet wide. These are not substantial variances.
But your 45 feet wide puts the property line feet 2 feet from the existing house, which means these people can't even go and put a ladder up to paint that house without being on the other
But the
property.
existing drive is there already.
But they can't put a ladder up to get to the roof, to paint the side of the house.
They're not worsening the condition. It's a condition that exists now.
The property line
Yeah,
is there?
The drive is there.
The drive is down, but it's right now, it's all the same lot. So they have the ability to maintain their house.
Would it be more beneficial to adjust that to give them, say, 10 feet from the house, so they have the opportunity?
But then you need a variance,
A larger variance.
a much larger variance. You're going to need another 8-foot variance. Instead of 45 feet, you'd need 37 feet.
Forget the easement.
Sorry.
But if.
No,
the-
you need more than that. Yeah,
But
so, anyway.
if the proximity is problematic to you, we'll move it, but keep in mind that would enlarge.
I'm one person on this
I want
board.
to please you, Madam Chair.
No, don't.
No. I want you to feel
I'm
better
telling
about
you,
this
I have
application
concerns.
than I think you do, and I just don't know how to do it.
When we have designed lots in this town where people have 2 feet between property lines, there's no place to put snow, there's no place to put everyday essentials of people owning a house. When you're talking about having a property line 2 feet away from the actual structure.
Okay.
As I said, there's no room to maintain that house.
We are
You
gonna-
can't put a plant up on that side of the house.
Fair enough.
Nothing.
We'll move that.
And-
We'll move, excuse me, 1 minute. We'll move it, keeping in mind the other variance will then be enlarged. But if the biggest concern this board has is the proximity to the drive to the house, I hear you, and I think my client hears you, and we think it's a reasonable approach, and we'll do that. If that lessens the concern, I'm going to advise my client to do it. We have 8 acres, we have a split zone, we have problems here. So there may not be a perfect example here, but we're trying to do everything we can to develop reasonably this split zone property.
Can I finish?
Yeah, I
Are there
didn't
any
mean to
windows
interrupt
on
you.
that side of the house?
Sorry?
Are there any windows on that side of the house?
Right.
Yeah, so the noise associated with all these cars that are now going to be going back and forth is now going to be, this house is going to, again, there's existing asphalt there, I get that, but there's not existing travel way for a house with a 5-car garage, 5-bay garage, whatever it is, okay, that's now going to be in the rear, that's going to be traversing back and forth.
And it's only the 3 bays that actually being used every day. The other are storage for older vehicles. So it's not like there's going to be a ton of traffic.
Or an RV, I thought there was one of these was storage for an RV.
Yeah, and the RV is only going to be used intermittently throughout, seasonally. You know, but otherwise, as far as, I mean, 84 is right out back, 52 is right in the front. So as far as hearing vehicles and traffic and tractor trailers, that's a given. They're used to that. And I even discussed with them about driving by their house, and they were like, it's fine, we hear the traffic all the time. It didn't matter to them.
See, the thing is that, one of the things I'm concerned about is, right now, you are neighbors, but somebody else buys the property
Right.
few years down the road, they're gonna have a major problem here. And then they're gonna be coming and asking us for other variances, I don't know
A
what.
6-foot fence along the property line.
And so, and you only
To
have
stop the
47, yeah,
noise.
47 foot. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know the solution. I mean,
Could I ask a question of the board? If we did move the area to, it's 2 feet now, further, would the board be more inclined to like that proposal than the one we presently have? It would make us more non-compliant with the width of the pole.
I mean, you need 50 feet, you're already at 47, so you're already 3.
45.
Or 45.
No,
Oh,
from the property line to the corner of the existing structure is 47, okay? 47 feet. So you don't even have 50 feet to start with. Right here. Yeah. You don't even have, you know,
That is correct. We discussed this respectively at the last meeting. And when we were asked to review looking at the pole on the existing driveway to minimize impervious areas within the watershed, which I believe we have done. We've minimized disturbance. We've tried to come up with a reasonable adjustment with the plan to accommodate some of your concerns. And I think that was one of the concerns we had, is that we didn't have that.
You did
50
raise that.
feet.
I agree.
And then I think the board seemed somewhat acceptable. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I believe acceptable is okay, of entertaining that variance.
I think ultimately we needed to see what it was going to look like. The easement running diagonally across the rear of the other, just, I don't believe was at all acceptable. So, I can't answer the question as to whether, if you need to increase the variance to be able to give the lot in the front more distance is the answer or not. I can't answer that.
If you do that, I don't know that it's going to change because it's already paved. So how are you changing the condition at all? It's already an existing driveway.
well, you can eliminate paving.
Yeah.
We could do that. The chair and the board has, in my mind, told me the most objectionable condition is that issue with the 2 feet.
Most objectionable? I
Yeah.
don't think any of us identified anything as
Well,
what's most objectionable.
it's gathering most discussion then. And I know this is not your position, but we'd like to know what we could do to make this board feel better about the application. And it strikes me, and I could be wrong, that and again, I'll repeat it, and if the chair doesn't think I'm describing it correctly, I apologize. It seems like that's gathering the most attention and the most objection. And I'd like to be able to come back here with that condition addressed, and it would move the flagpole width probably from about 50 to 42 or 43. 47.
is it possible to give a separate access to this existing residence? A parallel entrance?
It is possible, but due to trying to minimize impervious surfaces and not impact the wetland buffers, because the access would have been on the
No, from the other side,
other side of what?
from the parallel to this flagpole lot. Yeah. Yeah, 2 parallel driveways, one going to the back and one going to this house. So that it would be completely independent.
I don't think that addresses the issue of the flagpole, though. Still have the 47 feet.
That's true. So basically, the existing residents will have an easement over to go over the flagpole.
Correct, so they would have an access easement to be able to access 52 to to be able to
From the
get on
parking
there.
lot.
Where are you proposing to cut 1,500 cubic yards? And where are you filling?
So in where the proposed house is, there is, basically it basically balances itself. So you have, basically the fill is here, and the cut is here. So what we're cutting here is just going to be popped over.
Why do you, I guess I need to ask, why do you need such a large asphalt courtyard? To have to do that significant a cut? Or you're just looking to keep the material on site so you don't have to truck it off?
Yes and yes.
That's what I figured, okay.
The first part, though, we do need to be able to have access and maneuverability for the RV.
Got it, turn around.
Yes.
Got it, okay, no, you have answers to, so it's fine, but it's... What's the pleasure of the board?
I don't know. I guess, is it, I mean, I don't want to, I want the lot one to have a little bit more room to move around, because 2 feet is like, you can barely put a...
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing, I mean.
2 feet is, this is even wider than 2 feet.
Exactly.
So, you know,
I
it's,
have a question. In front of me is the old Connie's, if you may.
okay?
In front of the rental house, up on 52. Zip, barely any parking. I don't even think they have their own well or septic, but they're given those rights to have that little bit around them. When I'm asking, when I've got 47 feet.
Don't you think it's ridiculous that they have no
That is-
land around them?
That is,
So
but
why
not
would,
me.
why would you ask this board to create a similar condition?
It's not similar. That's absurd. That's what I'm saying, if it can go that
You're asking
absurd.
us on one side to
Right.
create the same condition.
I don't think it's,
Sharing a driveway, so it doesn't even have its own driveway. That's why we're asking the question, because again, so at some point, somebody thought it was okay. Probably maybe even before the house got built behind it. We don't know.
they were both there at the same time.
I don't know. You don't know, I don't know which one came first.
1953, the rental house was built, and it was built because the owner had Connie's.
Correct, and that was, and,
Owned by Paraskiva, he's on the board as
correct,
well.
and that was before the zoning kicked in.
Yes.
So that
Oh,
was,
yeah, that was,
so again,
that was why it got done.
correct, yeah, correct. So you have to remember that. I think people made stuff 100 years ago, and
Thank you.
so,
That's why there is zoning.
exactly.
So,
But the
Mr.
subdivision-
Zahn, as I understand, your biggest issue, it's the proximity of the drive to the,
Biggest?
the biggest.
One of them,
Yeah, I think we have multiple issues here. I don't think that you can just get it down to one issue.
Okay?
So-
The issues are, is parking an issue, or has?
No,
that-
parking, I think, has been resolved, because I didn't see that it was part of the
Okay,
asphalt existing
so-
driveway. I just thought it was, so now, so there is access to the front and the back. There's sufficient from the map that you have given us, there's sufficient room to park a few cars in the back, which is fine.
Okay.
They don't have a garage, because these people down the road may come back and ask for an attached garage. So we'll have to figure out where to put it, and again, most probably, I mean, things happen, because you may not, you may decide in a few years to sell lot one, or whatever, and then they will be coming asking for variances, and then we'll be stuck with these kind of limitations for them. And again, we see it from time to time, so that's what I'm anticipating, those issues.
Okay. The other issues all involve now very de minimis variances. Most of them are 90 to 95% compliant. So I guess if there are other issues, we'll address them as best we can. But in the end, we don't think we're requesting variances that are outrageous or even significant. We think they're very non-substantial, if you will.
Again, as you've, again, if you want to make it part of the record, when this residence was built in, so, that could be one of the reasons that we can justify this, these variances, that because this was not self-created, it was done before zoning, so, but we need some kind of on-the-record that, this is such, because moving the residence would be theoretically, somebody could lift up the existing residence and move it to comply with the zoning setbacks, but that would be a major expense. The house was built before zoning, and so now you have a situation where you're trying to subdivide, and you have wetland issues, buffers, and all the other limitations. So you're trying to do the best, but I think I'm looking at possible subdivision down the road, and so I just need to have that reduced as best as possible.
I understand, thank you.
So is there anything else we want the applicant to show, or are we ready to move this on for a public hearing?
I would like the 2 feet expanded. I'd rather give a higher variance, because these people are going to come back, lot 1 is going to come back down the road, asking for a shed or a garage or something, or a swimming pool. So I need to anticipate those issues. And again, the 2 feet is nothing. It's like less than, it's like nothing. So I'd rather have it, so I'd rather give lot 1 a little bit more room to maneuver for future, once it gets subdivided and separately sold.
Is there anything else the board could recommend to my client?
I don't know.
I have nothing. It's not our position to recommend, so. All right,
If you want to go back and discuss it and come back next month, that's fine. You'll have 2 other, opinions, but I'm really concerned 2 feet is nothing. And I'm looking at subdivision, selling, because once you have a separate legal entity, lot.
it's R3 zone, so that's why they can't even subdivide it now. So unless zoning changes, their ability to subdivide this is it. They don't even have the ability to subdivide. That's why they're here. What you're really talking about is the future user of this house.
Yes, exactly.
To use the property, to use their own property
Yeah, because
better to put a garage in and other things. There's
Yeah.
wetlands here, so they're not going to subdivide this lot.
No, not about this. I'm talking about current subdivision. Lot 1 and lot 2 are 2 separate,
Yes.
will be considered 2 separate properties.
So the future use of this and any other structures that may be needed in the future.
Will have
Yes,
tremendous
will have-
limitation.
Right. Agreed.
So I'd rather give a little bit more on the,
Well, and there's the noise impact and everything else.
that's something that they'll have to live with, especially with Route 52 just across this.
Yeah, but they've got a structure that's blocking some of the
Okay,
noise.
yeah. But again, right now, it's just, but because of, it's before zoning, so I'm trying to work with the applicant, but 2 feet is way too close for my comfort.
We really do appreciate your comments. Thank you very much.
So, do you want to come back with another plan, or do you want, Aziz, what do you want to do?
It's up to the applicant, because I am very concerned about lot 1. Lot 2 has enough room, the fill moving around, they're out of the wetland area, so, and again, as the applicant has pointed out, that they're trying to be 80 to 90% compliant, and so the variance they're looking is, they're trying to make the best with the existing 7.81 acres. But it's, 2 feet is just bothering me.
Yeah, yeah. But that means they'd have to, what? We don't
Just be
know.
careful, the microphone is on.
I'm sorry?
The microphone is on.
We don't know
Yeah, or you can,
what the dimensions will be. If we were to commit to this board to move that, could the board set a public hearing based on it, or no, because you haven't seen the revised plan?
I guess, I mean, I'd be comfortable if you move it a reasonable amount, because, I mean, you're already 47, you can't go to 50 anyway. So, so the variance that we're gonna be giving, I hate to have a double easement, so that part of that, so they extend their thing, so they have a dependent easement, so you depend on their back easement, and they depend on your easement for access.
There's no other way to have a second driveway in there, so
Yeah, exactly, I mean, so they're,
there's no, right.
It's very,
That's-
very typical.
But you have to have maintenance agreements and everything else in place, because,
but how many people do remember down the road to have these agreements unless,
well, no, you gotta, the town mandates them right up front.
It's part of your deed.
okay,
That could be a condition of your variance, for sure.
But again, they're proposing a 5-bay garage in the back, that right now, you're proposing it with potentially 3 regular users and other structure, but doesn't prohibit what happens in the future. Okay, some future user could be using that for a much, much greater use. No, I know, you can't, that's what I'm
Very
saying,
hypothetical.
that's our job.
No, I
That's our
understand.
job, it's not very hypothetical, there are many people that
Right.
have
I'm looking to
multiple
stay
car
where
garages.
This is gonna be like it. It's a one-level home, it's a ranch, and, you know,
Our job is to consider future users.
I understand.
Okay, that's all. So, I don't know what you're proposing for us to set a public hearing for, so.
My question to you is, if what's being set for public hearing isn't exactly what's before you now, but with the understanding that we are going to move to provide for more distance than 2 feet currently, would the board be inclined to set it for a public hearing, or would it want to see the
Not
revised?
if we knowingly know you were going to change it.
We are going to change
You have
it.
to either tell us if it's not a 5-foot variance, what is it?
What is it? Go ahead. Speak to the board.
If we give the lot 1 10 feet to the house, it would make 37 feet
I'm looking
for
at
the
10 feet.
flagpole.
Yeah. So give us in essence, the approximation of what we're talking about from.
2 of me.
Huh?
2 of me. I'm 5'3". Just a shy shorter.
So you're asking now to give the distance of 10 feet, so you're at 37 feet, so you need a 13-foot variance.
Right, from the 50.
Instead of 2 feet, you
Yes.
now want 10, so it's 8 feet more.
Yes.
It would actually eliminate the other variance as well, with that, for the side yard of this house. If we make this 10 feet, the side yard setback is 10 feet.
We would be
So
then
we're-
compliant. It would just increase the.
So it reduces the variance that you need, but it makes greater the one variance.
It doesn't reduce it, it eliminates it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It reduces one of the eliminates one variance, that's fine.
Want to do that? That's what we'd like to provide to this board for a public hearing next month.
So you're eliminating the 8-foot side yard variance for pre-existing non-conforming residence located in a B1 zone. So with that modification, do I have a motion for a public hearing?
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pam will give you your instructions for your sign.
Thank you very much for
What's
your.
the frontage, the square footage, or the linear feet on the frontage? Does it exceed 100 feet? How many signs do you need, is what I'm trying to get at?
I would say 2.
Yeah, it looks,
It's 1 and 2, yeah. 2.
so Pam will give you your instructions on your sign.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll see you next month. Huh? Item number 11 is Appeal 3904, 2A. Hi.
I'm Erin
Let's
with
ma-
Empire Solar.
You're what?
I'm Erin with Empire Solar.
Oh, okay, all right, hold
Yeah.
on. Okay, can you pronounce the first name here?
Erin, the homeowner's name?
Yes,
Tawn,
please.
T.
Tawn?
Yep,
2A?
yep.
122 Loma Lane, Hopewell Junction is requesting a 55-foot sideline variance for a proposed 28 panels ground-mounted solar array to be located at his property pursuant to local law 1 of 2019. So this is the first time we're seeing this. I understand you have been to the planning board.
Yes.
Okay.
And they came out and did a site visit as well, and they recommended that we come here. I do have a couple photos, I don't know if that'd help.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah,
I think we have them.
Okay.
I only made 4 copies.
That's fine.
This is the trees that we're gonna propose to.
Okay, no problem.
And then I just wanna make sure you have, no, okay. Okay, so we're here to request a variance for basically 55 feet for the southwest property line. So essentially, the homeowner wants the array tucked into that corner. I know that it's 100 feet for the law right now for all property lines. However, if it was placed in the middle of that property, it would take away a lot, and it'd be much more difficult to screen for not only the homeowner, but it would just be much simpler to.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. Why can't it comply with the law?
It can, but the problem is it would be smack in the middle of the property. So it's at the homeowner's request if we can get it at that 45-foot line there. Basically, we found that it would be easier to screen, that one side. I know you'd probably be concerned for the one neighbor there. But we're proposing that we plant the thuja green giant trees. They're fast-growing. They grow 3 feet per year, so it could quickly become a barrier so that a homeowner won't see it. And then they could grow as wide as 12 to 20 feet and as tall as 50 to 60 in their lifespan. I think right now we have 5 on each side of the property lines, but we can, of course, add more. And that's what we're proposing. I mean, the homeowner wanted to go solar. He was hoping he could get on his roof, but there was not enough roof space. So that's why we're going ground in the first place. But as we brought the
He
planning.
can't get enough on his roof because of the orientation is
It is the
not
orientation.
southerly, or is?
Yep, it's the orientation. He's got a lot of hips and valleys. It's not just a straight, like bi-level or something.
Okay.
So he wouldn't be able to get this type of system on his, and especially with the fire setbacks and the codes, he wouldn't be able to do it on the roof.
So who's going to see this?
Oh, I'm sorry. The neighbor, so if you look on I have a bunch of pictures. So,
Yeah,
okay. So the neighbor, if you're looking at that aerial shot, it'd be the one.
right. No, it's okay, we got it.
Oh, you got it? Yeah, okay.
The one on the back or the left or the right of the property?
If you're facing the property like this, it'd be to the left.
Okay,
So
left,
here's Loma Lane.
correct. It'll be the left, Zelensky.
Yes.
Yeah, this guy's.
Yeah.
So that's the only area where we're requesting the variance for. The other homeowner may see some of it, but that's why we're also planting screening on that side as well.
So are you proposing it in the area that's cleared now?
If you, let's see,
Or are you going to take down
So
more
if-
trees?
we're going to take down 2 trees. If you look at picture 4, 5, and 6, that's where the array is going to be staked out. And it'll show, actually, in picture 6, you'll see the house that would be able to see it. So that's where we're proposing to plant the green giants. So they would be able to see it the most, like I said, the other side would have some visibility if they were in their backyard, but we're going to be also planting trees on the other side.
Now, these trees will not affect the solar arrays?
No, because it's the southernmost exposure, so it's going to be, the tallest will be behind it. So they'll be this way, the array will be facing this, so they'll be capturing the sun that way. And it's kind of a clear opening there. I mean, the aerial for is not the best from this GIS map, but you see it's clear, so they won't have any issues.
Is this soccer goal on his property or
No,
on the
that's the
neighbor's
neighbor's.
property? So this neighbor has a very clear view.
There was a tree, it looks like they took it down.
Yeah, it looks like they took it down a
Yeah,
tree, so that
so-
stump is on their property.
Yes. So what we could also
Wow,
do
that's
is,
close.
if, we can also, so like I said, we're gonna plant the green giants. We can also put a minimum height of how many feet you'd like that planted when we go forward.
How tall are these solar panels?
Right now, its maximum is 12 feet tall, but we can lower that a little bit, so.
12 feet is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still, it's
All I'm
less
not
than
getting is why they need the variance at all.
So if you look on page,
Is it
3.
his view that he's worried about?
Yeah,
So
yes.
it's the property owner's
The
view.
property owner, I mean, it's,
His own view, that he doesn't want to see his own solar panels.
but he can easily, so if you look at page 3, that's what he looks at when he kind of walks down the property, and that's that big tree there. So it's trying to be tucked into that spot, so we can hide it from anywhere. Because if you did put it at the 100 feet mark where we're compliant, that property owner will see it from that soccer goal either way. It'll just be a little bit, 50 feet closer. Because it'll be right in the middle of his backyard.
And what's the life of this solar panel that he's proposing to put?
The length?
The life.
Life, what do you mean? Like how?
Is it a 20-year panel?
Oh, yep.
That's what we're asking.
Sorry, I've never been asked the lifespan of a panel before, because usually it's 20 minimum, but.
Yeah, because the thing is that this panel will be there for a number of years, so the trees, will surround it and the landscaping might change, but then, it gets rusted and all that, so you just have to anticipate.
And they're going to see the back sides of the panel?
Yeah,
not the
let me double check. It'd be kind of at a tilt. If you look for that question, the best picture would kind of be look at that survey there. So if you look where that 45 is, that's that line where the soccer goal is here. So it'll be kind of
I don't
slanted.
know what you mean by a 45.
The 45-foot line on the property
on
survey?
here.
Yeah. That's where that soccer goal is. But we did have, like I said, the planning board come out there, and they did understand why the homeowner wanted it where he's proposing to place it.
Pam, does
They did agree
everyone
that it was a
have
good
Lori's
spot.
notes from the planning board site visit?
If they don't, I have extra.
And I don't know if that's something that you guys do, but if you'd like to site visit as well, to get a better look at it.
Has he spoken with the neighbor?
I haven't spoke to him yet since that site visit about it, but I know he's very for solar. I'm actually surprised he wasn't here today. I probably should have reminded him about it, but he's been involved, so I'm sure he's probably spoken to them. But if it goes to public hearing next, I'll ask to be sure that you speak to the neighbor and get any feedback, hopefully good.
So this, the site visit was done by the planning board on or about
March 23rd.
March 23rd, and then you prepared the revised note on March 29th. So basically, whatever the planning board's concerns were, is being addressed in your
Yes.
revision note 1?
Yeah, because he originally wanted it even closer. He originally wanted at 36 feet off the property line. The planning board came, they took a look at it, they just asked them to shift it a little bit more, as much as we could, so we got it to 45 feet. I think any further, I think there's another tree which we aren't taking down that could be in the way.
Mine
but-
shows 36.
Oh, yours does, okay. I have,
Maybe there's a 45.
yeah, the original one, we shifted, so it's at 45 now.
Oh, so that's only.
Yeah,
for-
that was the older
because
one,
it's-
I'm sorry,
Okay,
yeah.
it says note 1 up here, and also there's a revised note 2 also.
Yeah.
Mine says 36, but that's okay.
Oh, it's
Oh,
here.
oh, that's,
There was an old one,
Okay.
yeah.
forget this guy.
Pam, do we have the law? Huh? Michael, does this board have the ability to grant a variance based on the law?
The board would. The issue that's going to arise is the precedent that it sets.
Exactly.
Because now every other homeowner comes in who doesn't really want to see it directly from their property is going to say, okay, well, you granted it in this one case, you got to grant it for me as well.
Yeah, I understand.
So while you do have the ability to do it, I think the main question on this one is going to be the precedent that you're setting.
And I know that you're, concerned about the neighbors and what it will look like 20 years down the line for the, the one that will be affected because it's closer to this property, but at the same time, his property, I feel like benefits from the location, like I understand why he doesn't want to see it. But yeah, if there was an array in the middle of his property, and then we had to put trees around it for him to screen it, it would take up a lot of his backyard, where I feel like this would be beneficial as far as if he ever wanted to sell his home or, yeah, unfortunately, his roof was not, we weren't able to use his roof.
So this is considered a Tier 2?
It's tier 2.
So permitting requirements for the Tier 2 solar energy systems, they shall be permitted by a special permit from the planning board, subject to the following conditions: site plan application for any solar energy system requiring a site permit, site plan approval shall be required. The approval criteria are the same as set forth in Chapter 194 of the Town Code. All solar panels shall have anti-reflective coatings, that would make sense.
The main section for this is section 107C, is really what's at issue for this one.
Okay, so the setbacks, 100 feet from an abutting residential district. They should be subject to the height limitations. Screening and visibility is number 5. Shall have views minimized from adjacent properties to the extent reasonably practicable. And B, equipment shall be located in a manner to reasonably avoid and/or minimize blockage of views and shading of surrounding properties while still providing adequate solar access. Lot size, okay, maximum lot coverage. Shall comply, Tier 2 solar energy systems shall comply with a maximum lot coverage for the underlying zoning district. What's the lot coverage here? Do we know? What's the area that you're talking about covering?
Oh,
28 panels is, what's the
So
square
it's the
footage?
it's 530 square feet.
We have garages most garages are bigger than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to give you, it is 7 rows of
But
4
still, that
panels.
is, 500 is 50 times 100, so it's still significant.
12%.
Huh?
12%.
12%, what is the lot coverage allowed?
No, that's the maximum coverage.
That's the maximum? And has anybody done this calculation yet?
Not to my knowledge.
Has anybody done a lot coverage, did you do a seeker?
No. Oh, wait. Let's see. Would require-
Did you fill out an EAF?
It
I was
equals
saying,
ni-
you did
Oh, it's
a-
on
you-
it, it's on the zoning. It's
You
on
did
page-
a,
yeah. It's under, it's, what is it, the third section of the zoning info, so it's 9.4%.
So you're under the, there's wetlands on this property?
Not that I was aware of.
Somebody check yes. Does any portion of the proposed
I always do
action
the, you
or
know,
lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by federal, state, or local agency? Where are the wetlands?
yeah, I don't have the short EAF on me. Is it in the, isn't there a map usually on the back of that?
It's item number 13 in seeker.
No, yeah, I know, it's not on my survey, but I always do the automatic GIS short, or, I'm sorry, short EAF.
Yeah, but it was signed by Aaron Mc,
Yeah, that's me.
Well, I know, and it was number 13, yes. 13.
So when was the last time the wetlands were flagged? How large are the wetlands? Where are they? How is this gonna impact the wetlands?
Okay. That I'd have to come back with, I don't, you know.
To the planning board?
I mean, I think there's water behind this property, but I don't know what, I forget what it is. It's like, well.
So again, we
beyond
need to be sure that you're staying out of the buffer if there's a wetland. There's a 100-foot buffer for a wetland. So even if it's not on this property, if it's on the
I know, I
adjoining
think
property.
that's what it is, that's why I don't think this property has the wetlands on it, I think it's
You
in,
got Global Foundries behind you.
yeah.
The wetlands, yeah, okay. There's just a building on Global Foundries, I don't know what else is over there. There's multiple buildings on that property. So we need to understand where the wetlands are for us to know where you're proposing to put this and. All right, does the board want to go and do a site visit? I know the planning board did that already, but do we?
I think it'd be a good idea, especially, I would like to know before, I would like to suggest a site visit. But when was this particular structure built? Because it's so close to Lumala Lane.
Wilmela.
Lumala.
Wilmela is an old,
Yeah,
I
because
don't
it's,
have,
old community,
the
so.
date is cut off from this, in 1980.
1980, so it was
I
after.
think, I believe, because that's where this, if you look in the right corner, it says.
No, that doesn't make sense.
No, right?
No, there would be just a survey was done.
I actually just had the Zillow up, I wonder if that's on there, but.
So do we need any variances for?
Year built 1927, at least that's what it says.
Okay, so it's
Make
only
more
because it's
sense.
approximately, do we need any variance for the house being so close to the lane?
And the garage being
Yeah,
5 feet or 0.5 feet, I'm not even
6
sure what that is.
well, it seems like 6.5 feet,
Clear, 6.4, yeah.
6.4. So do we need to address those issues?
Pam, Michael, yes?
I think that should be addressed, yeah. Yes.
In the back, there's a CON, oh, that's a concrete pad
Yeah,
in the back.
there's probably a shed at one point.
It's in the top
Me?
right corner.
I don't recall seeing it there when I was on.
It says, it's in the.
Yeah, I see what you're talking
It
about.
looks like it's just a concrete pad.
Yeah.
Look like
I don't
the
recall
shed is
seeing
there.
it when I was on the site, but,
Yeah. Can you look into it and give us
yeah.
the dimensions from the edge of the property, the sideline and the backyard?
Now, I have a question. I know I heard the other gentleman that was asking the same questions, but what is the homeowner going to have to do if this is, for variances for this house that's already built? Like, what does that even entail?
Stuff that was, houses that were built before zoning
Yeah.
are grandfathered in, but once they come for a variance,
Okay,
we have to clean it all up,
okay. So,
as the best of our abilities, as we identify them.
okay.
Doesn't look like there's anything.
Yeah, but again, was done in April 9th, so it's showing a concrete pad.
Yeah,
so-
no, I know, but I'm just,
Yeah, I
there's no
know.
shed or anything like that there, so.
But we don't know, I mean, maybe a slab for a
Maybe
future.
it's tucked under the trees, you never
Yeah,
know.
it's possible. But, we have a applicant, and so, like a wood post, I don't worry about, but the concrete, I don't know how close it is to the two neighbors.
All right, well, so you're gonna get us some more information,
Okay,
all
so,
right?
so my first question is, are you gonna wanna do a site visit? And then, are you waiting for this information, or we can't go to a public hearing yet, or what's the next?
I have no information about wetlands.
Okay.
You've indicated there's wetlands close by, so I need to understand wetlands and the impact of where you're putting this, how close you are, making sure you're not within a buffer. We're not gonna grant a variance if you're proposing to put something in a buffer.
Okay, but if it's not within the, what is it, 100 feet for the buffer? Is that what that was? If it's not, and I can't confirm that tomorrow, we can't go to a public, I just don't want to delay this project any further. And I know that the public hearing would be the next step. And then if it's not, we could just take me off the agenda, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, but the problem is, right now, we have to advertise, and we have to advertise properly. So we don't even know what we are advertising at this point.
Yeah,
we have
but
all
I
these
could
issues
get
that-
that information to you by tomorrow, is what I'm trying to say. I just don't want to miss the date.
If the wetlands have not been flagged in the last 5 years, you're gonna have to flag the wetlands. That's,
I mean, on
if
his
there's any
property, I'm
wetlands on
almost-
his property,
Okay.
you're gonna have to flag wetlands.
Okay.
It's could be a bigger deal. I don't know where the wetlands are, so I'm really not, I don't think there's enough information here for us to say that.
Doesn't that back map of the short EF usually show if the wetlands is on his property?
What
I mean,
back map of the
the
GIS?
last page, no.
Ah, there it is. Let's see what this says. Nope. I'm not seeing anything.
See if I still have.
Digital mapping information on local and federal wetlands and water bodies is known to be incomplete. Refer to EAF workbook.
That's what I get for using that. I just use the program that it gives it to me. Oh, wait. I did do this last time, because I think this was a question for the board.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine the planning board would have looked into it.
Yeah, hold on one second, let me just pull up all my old notes. Okay, so I think here, I pulled up this parcel. So it looks like this was where the wetlands was located.
EEC wetlands, and you've got federal in here too. So where's the 100-foot buffer?
Well, if the array is here from the back of the property here, we're already at 120. So we'll definitely be within the 100 feet.
When were these flagged, do we know?
Yeah, I just pulled that off the GIS map.
Can we ask Michelle perhaps? I mean, if there's a planning board application on file, the planning board would need this information as well. So if she can tell us where the wetlands are, because this is just something coming from access, parcel access that's not dated, so it doesn't give me any information. Huh?
I can ask her or Rick.
Yeah. Because it appears that they go to the property line, the farthest property line, that they are awfully close, and we all know that the lines on parcel access are not exact, so 20 feet, yeah, hard to say how far off the lines may or may not be from terms of. So, did you want this back?
No, you can, I mean, I don't know if you need it for your stuff, but.
So again, I think we need more information on that.
Okay, so Who do I
And-
go to? Do we have to like flag his house, have a surveyor go back out there? I'm not sure what.
If they're not on your property, no, but you need to understand where the boundaries of the wetlands are. So if there's any chance that
Okay, but
they're
if it's not on
your
his property, how do we get that from the property behind us? Like, I don't understand where to go from here. That's the information I pulled.
I'm not sure who has the most current information on those, DEC, or, whether we've seen anything related to Global Foundries property in the last couple of years that we'd have something on file? Huh?
Not that area of Global Foundries.
Okay. All right, sorry, it's not this board's issue, this board's, information available to us, so. I would start with the town planner.
Ray has something. You have something to
So
say?
you have parcel access. Yeah, that's what she's printed out for us. But again, we know parcel access lines are not spot on, so
Completely out of the floodplain,
it's out of the floodplain.
yeah, and the wetlands are way to the back.
The wetlands appear to end at the corner of the property. And so if there's a 100-foot buffer from the wetlands, Rick, that's what I'm getting at, and she's only 120 feet in, if the lines are off in any measure,
They're in it.
exactly, you know what I mean, that she's within the 100-foot buffer, that's what we have to be careful about. So, because then the variance is gonna shift. Huh?
There's a buffer on the floodplain also.
So where's the floodplain? Because I only saw the wetland, the DEC wetlands.
So I think you'll have to, again, we have a town planner, and you can meet the town planner this week and figure out what your steps are to identify the floodplain, the buffer, the wetland, and the
All
buffer.
that blue is floodplain.
Correct.
So.
But it's
is
not
it- Is
identified.
it appearing to cross over the corner of the property? No? It's the same as the,
That's the lot. This is all floodplain behind it. It's so small, it's hard to,
yeah, I mean, that's,
Yeah, but it's at the corner, it may be just
That's
5
what-
feet,
yeah,
10
see
feet, we
how
don't
if-
know. That's what we have, I think.
yeah, see how it comes right to the corner there? But again, she's, right, it's the same thing, but what she's proposing is that the corner of the panel is 120 feet in from that corner. So she's only got 20 feet of wiggle room. I don't know how accurate the lines are. They're not, exactly. We all know that they're not accurate, so that's where, because it could be that that the panels have to get moved in, it's gonna reduce the variance, so that's what we have to be sure of. And you should be, planning board's gonna want that information as well, so.
And so basically, for the next review, you need to have the concrete pad identified, its dimension, its location, the garage and its dimension and location, the front and corners of the property in the front. 'Cause I don't know, so, and then one of the things that you can do is, there's a zoning board setback requirements, you can just plop it up there, so it'll be very clear what you're looking for, because then when you put the zoning board setbacks, it's very clear where every structure is.
I think it makes sense for Erin to meet with Michelle and to review what all these other variances are gonna be needed.
Yeah, I just don't know what the homeowner is gonna have to, like, I know that you don't have to grant him variance, right? So I don't,
No, but if its structure
Yeah.
was built before zoning, we're not gonna make him move structures.
Yeah.
Okay, but we do need to understand what a concrete pad is,
yeah, or in the house, right? 'Cause
Or the garage.
Yeah,
so. you
And
know,
again, it was built
this-
before
right,
zoning.
If the structures have been there since before zoning, then.
yeah.
We don't hold him responsible for building something when at the time he built it, it wasn't not in compliance, so.
Yeah,
All right, but we need to understand what it is so that we're advertising correctly, so that when we're granting variances, nobody can challenge it, or nobody can win any challenge for you.
Right. And this is the first time that we're doing a solar panel
I know.
for a
That's why they
house.
that's why they wanted to do the site plan, because they were like, I don't know if we can even do a
Yeah, so we have
variance
to
yet.
schedule a site visit if we're going to do this.
Correct, and so that's why, yeah, I mean, I suggested that we were gonna do it either independently or as a,
Well, we're going into somebody's backyard. We can't,
okay,
5 of us can't be going out independently into somebody's backyard.
okay, so,
Yeah, I mean, if
So-
you guys want to set it now.
Right, that would be the idea, so that
Yeah,
we're
that's
taking
fine.
care of our public noticing.
Okay, so when, what would work for you guys? Or do you want to wait till the next review?
no, we're gonna do it before the review, so
Okay.
this
We
way,
should do it before the next
so it's
review.
a skip, otherwise it just postpones it.
Okay.
So anybody's availability? I would,
I mean, what hours would you or your homeowner?
I mean, I came out on the Saturday last time, so whatever really works
I
for the
would-
board.
I would think like a Saturday morning would be, we could try to do it.
I mean, I'm free this Saturday.
I'm not available this
Okay.
Saturday, so. And we would need time to give the other 2 members who aren't here a heads up, so I'm not sure it would be appropriate to do it this Saturday.
May
I
4th,
can't do it.
Saturday, May 4th?
May 4th would work for me.
I'm available in the morning.
Yeah.
What time in the morning were you thinking?
Oh,
She
whatever
wasn't
works.
thinking, it's up to us.
I'm
Oh,
writing
okay,
it.
no, okay,
I'm writing it down right now.
okay.
And
That
the
works for
homeowner,
everybody.
yeah, like I said, he's pretty involved, so he had coffee for the
At
site,
9:30?
for the planning board, so.
Does 9:30 work?
9:30 works for me.
9:30.
All right, so let's suggest 9:30. Pam, if you can let the other 2 know. All right, so,
All right, so basically I'm talking to Michelle right now. That's the next
yes,
step.
please.
Okay.
And whatever information, obviously, that you can,
She was reviewing for the planning board too, right?
okay.
All right, thank you.
So we'll see you next month, but we'll see, perhaps we'll see you at the site visit. Is the property
Yes.
still staked out or no?
Yeah, I believe so, but I'll double check.
Okay. All right. This board needs to go into executive session. This is the last item on our agenda, but we do need to have an executive session for consultation with our attorney. Do I have a motion to go into what should really be a short executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So,